doing my daily searches today and discover, once again, the PBD podcast discussing not Elon Musk, not X, not the Department of Government Efficiency, but Tesla stock itself. You'd love to see it. Big fan of the podcast. Let's see what the guys have to say.
All this stuff going on. Tesla's had a closing at 2025 high after Musk confirms driverless Robotaxi tests underway in Austin. Rob, do you have a video of that, of the Robotaxi test? I think it's good for us to see this here. Tom, so what is the story with this Robotaxi causing Tesla? Is this it? Oh, let's take a look at this.
Amazing.
Is that real, Rob, or is that a AI? That's actually happening.
Yep. All right, I got to take a moment here already. We heard in the background, as soon as this video appeared, some people saying, amazing. PBD himself just questioning, is this AI? Is this real? Is this really happening? That's how mind-blowing this is. And just in case anyone watching is unaware, the PBD podcast is absolutely massive. Currently 7 million subscribers. This video already approaching 80,000 views, many of which in the audience are quite conservative. In other words, many folks watching this will, for the first time, be seeing a Tesla vehicle driving itself.
Okay, so Robotaxi in Austin causing Tesla stock to go up. Is it just that? Is it the additional robots they're talking about? What else is it that's causing Tesla to have record-breaking numbers in 2025 with their stock prices?
I think the stock price is going up because two major manufacturers just announced that they were going to be competing less with Tesla, number one. And number two, Tesla is, it's funny, this announcement comes after Waymo runs into a poor guy in Arizona, after one of them ran into a construction site and got stuck in wet cement. That's a true story in San Francisco. The driverless taxi runs through cones and gets stuck in wet cement in a construction zone.
That's a true story?
It's a true story. Rob will find it. It's actually very...
Obviously, it just means that the Waymo needs more LiDAR.
I think it was, what was not funny is I think it hit a woman, then it drove into a construction site, then it drove into wet cement. And so all of those stories of the starting of driverless taxis.
It's not a funny story, Tom. You're laughing like it's a funny story.
There it is. There it is. Forbes. Cruise. Robotaxi drives into wet concrete. Waymo shows off same. So it's like they had their teething pains, but now with full self-driving and other things, Tesla's coming out and saying, okay, teething pains for taxis. Everybody else takes the headlines. I've now got it going in Austin. It's working. So competitors off, this here, and guess what? Those are all things. What do you think? It just feeds the stock price because all that is good news for Tesla.
So I'm getting the feeling, not very scientific, I know, the impression that Tom here, who I always appreciate his comments on the podcast, I'm not like a super dedicated viewer, but I watch occasional episodes. Tom's always pretty switched on. He seems to actually know what the fuck he's talking about when it comes to Tesla, which is extremely rare, not among folks maybe on this podcast, but just in general for anyone who's got an opinion. He understands the existence of Waymo. He understands FSD. He seems to have a pretty decent grasp on FSD. It's pretty uncommon to hear folks in a more general podcast type of situation to have any real idea about the company or its technology, let alone anyone else in the competitive landscape. Tom also aware, Ford, for example, admitting they can't make money selling EVs, so fuck it. Credit here where it's due. Very well informed. I'm usually roasting people for having no idea what the fuck they're talking about when it comes to Tesla. This is a nice change.
Well, I think what we're watching is Tesla is going, Bitcoin, I always say, went from a contrarian trade to a consensus trade. What's happening with Tesla right now is you're watching basically the early adopters, right? These people, they bought this thing. Wall Street hated it. Every single person with a spreadsheet told you how Elon Musk is a fraud. He's lying. He can't, ever get profit.
This shit's cracking me up because he's absolutely right. I think this is Pomp, right? So very impressed. The two guys we first really heard from here both actually know what the hell they're talking about and are making some good points. I first began buying Tesla stock roughly a decade ago. And believe me, at the time, the narrative was Tesla will go bankrupt. The competition is coming. Just wait until the big boys come. No one wants to buy a Tesla vehicle. No one can afford a Tesla vehicle. There's no market at the luxury end of the vehicle market. What are they doing? Elon's a fraud. Tesla's going bankrupt. Valuation makes no sense. They'll never make money. Blah, 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 blah. Only quite recently has this started to shift. It's easy to forget that or be completely unaware.
profitable, this company sucks, and a bunch of people on the internet that are individuals who said, hey, I actually think that these cars are pretty good. I drove one. I went and sat in one. And I don't think it's a car company. I think it's a robotics company. I think it's a machine learning company. I think it's a data company. Now
I think it's a service station selling electricity to all the rest of the car makers.
Yeah, well, what you're seeing now is you're seeing the transition, right? You're seeing those early adopters essentially are being proven right because now you have all of Wall Street realize, wait a second, this isn't a car company. We were using the wrong comps the entire time. This is a robotics company. This is an AI company. And when you see that car driving on the road, it is really hard to say that this is just a car company.
He does have a point. I mentioned this fairly recently. We've gone now from needing a little bit of imagination, at least like a quarter of a brain to see what's happening, to see where things are headed. E.g., you could watch the intervention-free drives. You didn't need to see that there's no one in a vehicle to see the vehicle doing all the driving, countless trips over and over and over, especially in the United States. Last couple of years, we can see the rate of progress. We can see drives without anyone intervening at all. So obviously, the next step, no one in the vehicle. But that does require at least a quarter of a brain and some imagination. But now, no imagination at all. No brain required at all. You can see with your own eyes. Actually, no, you can't because everyone knows that you need LiDAR to be able to see, right? If anyone's unsure, the reference here is post on X, some guy with 3 first names. Tesla haters can't actually see this video, proving they're wrong. That was the driverless vehicle in Austin. Because they don't have LiDAR on their heads, so they can't see. Because as we know, if you don't have LiDAR, it's impossible to solve autonomy.
And then you realize that he's sending updates over the air via this software. But then you also see him using a lot of the same technology and saying, wait a second, if a car can do this, what if I can make a humanoid robot do this? And so now what he's really...
Just take a moment, folks, to understand why legacy media, mainstream media, centralized news organizations and outlets, completely toast, completely fucked, getting massively disrupted by folks like PBD on this podcast. We have 2 guests at least who are quite well informed on this subject matter, as opposed to a bunch of dim-witted bozos on CNBS spouting off with no idea what they are talking about. This is such a refreshing change to hear people discussing Tesla and knowing almost entirely what they are talking about.
Doing is he's expanding the total addressable market of this business, and he's finally convincing Wall Street and these large pools of capital that this is not a car company. This is a robotics and an AI company, and it's getting re-rated by these organizations. There's a lot of folks for a long time who said, I don't own Tesla because of all the issues. Now what they're realizing is, if I'm a public market investor and I want to invest in AI or robotics, what stock do I buy? Well, you can go buy NVIDIA, you can buy some power companies, you can buy some of the components or the infrastructure, but there's not a lot of companies where you can go buy exposure to the future of AI and robotics. And so, yeah, you can go buy Google stock, but you also get YouTube and search and all this other stuff. Tesla is probably the most pure play exposure in the public market to AI and robotics. And so
he has absolutely nailed it. Again, the perceptions about what Tesla is among the general public, money managers, institutional investors, folks in the finance media. Watching this change in the coming months and quarters, as more and more videos pop up of these Teslas somehow miraculously driving themselves with no one inside, despite the fact that they don't have LiDAR. And as the Optimus humanoid robot continues to make progress, it's going to be a sight to behold.
Now the world is convinced we need this. They realize that this company is going to be that company. And you see people piling in, stock price goes up. But the part that no one ever talks about is all those people who used to hold Tesla stock, they're still holding.
Can confirm, first began buying Tesla stock in 2016, also bought it in 2017, and 18, and 19, and 20, and 21, and 22, and 23, and 24, and 25, and still have not sold a single share in that entire decade. So another big tick. Bro knows what he's talking about here. There's plenty of folks like myself who've bought Tesla stock, never sold a share, and don't intend on anytime soon.
They have this rabid fan base. And so they have this retail investor engagement or the cult of Elon around this stock. The fact that those people believe so fervently in the future of the stock means that they're not selling. And so when that new capital comes in, it's not like they just come and buy it from, the existing shareholders at some reasonable price. They all are pushing the share price up. And so that's why you're seeing the explosive, it's up 10% in the last 5 days. It's just large pools of capital pouring capital in, and the people who currently hold the shares aren't willing to sell it because they've got a very long-term belief in the stock.
It's a stabilization effect.
Last month is up 21%. Last 5 days up
Crazy.
10%. Insanity. Tom, go ahead, finish
It's a stabilization effect. Remember in the old days where you would have, okay, who are the institutional investors in Hilton? And you had what was called the widows and orphan stock because it was a dividend. But you had 5 big institutions, Piper Jaffray, the old Merrill Lynch, the old Lehman Brothers. They each own 4.5%, staying under the 5% rule. And They said, well, we're not selling. We believe in it. They're opening more hotels. We're fine. Well, you multiply that out, Pat, suddenly you had 22% of the stocks not going anywhere. That was like a stabilizing anchor because it reduces the volatility because it's holding. And that's what you have. You have the people that, whether they're memes or fans or whatever it is, they are the equivalent. You just might as well call them as the entrenched holders are like a large institutional bank that actually brings stability to the stock.
Are you long Tesla because of Elon, or are you long Tesla because of Tesla? Like, is it at a point where it's flipped, where you're more long Tesla with Elon lower, or is it still you're long Tesla because of Elon?
Now, I'm not sure. I think what PBD is asking here is, like, in theory, if you are long Tesla, well, not specifically to Tom, as in, Tom, since you own Tesla stock, why are you long? I think he's just asking more generally if you were long Tesla stock. Who knows, though, but if it turns out that Tom does own Tesla stock, I wouldn't be surprised. He does seem pretty well informed.
Long Tesla by itself, but I'm very long Tesla because of Elon, because I believe what the next chapter will bring.
Is it more Tesla or more Elon? Give me the 50.
By far. I think it's not even close to the same company without Elon, because I don't think anybody else could like imagine what he wants to do with it. You know, like I think it's like gonna be like entrenched the way that Apple's entrenched in our lives, but like on a bigger scale, like the way that our phones and laptops are entrenched in our lives, like the cars and the robots that'll be in everybody's house someday, that'll be entrenched in everybody's lives. But like I don't think that anybody else is enough of a visionary.
So you don't think the company is yet at a point where it's not just because of the jockey, where the jockey is managing the horse. It's not the horse yet.
No, and
you're still leaning on the guy driving it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody else like has the driver.
I wonder how many people feel that way.
But that's true of most companies, right? I mean, just look at Google. Google was getting their butt kicked and all this AI stuff and all the infrastructure, data centers, et cetera. And the founders came back, right? Open Door, another great example. The founders left, all of a sudden they came back. If you look at, Amazon, I think a lot of people are saying, wait a second, are they behind? Bezos isn't, there as much anymore. Look at Meta. They've been able to navigate multiple new technologies now because they've got the founder who's at the helm. You've got Elon, obviously, is a great example. I mean, you just go company by company by company. The companies that are still run by their founders tend to outperform the companies that are run by kind of professional managers. It's not a knock against the professional manager. It's just there's something different, right? There's this great...
I fully agree.
There's this great thought of the source of an idea is really important. Right. So even if you have two co-founders, who's the source? Who called who and said, hey, let's start a company, right? That person has intuition about something, sees the world a certain way, has a drive of something, really said, hey, I want to go put this in the world. Elon is the epitome of that. And so I think that he's really important.
Obviously true. Now, if Elon left Tesla tomorrow, they'd be fine. They'd coast, much like Apple did after the passing of Steve Jobs. Wouldn't quite be the same company, but still in a dominant position. Go to sleep, wake up 10 years later, they're still killing it. However, Musk at the helm is a massive positive, massively accelerates Tesla's progress, their scale, their resourcefulness, their efficiency, their recruiting of the best talent in the world. It's a massive win across the board. Of course, I'm preaching to the choir here, but as we'll know, Tesla proposed and shareholders overwhelmingly supported the 2025 CEO Performance Award, which lays out an enormous number of absolutely ridiculous but achievable, and don't bet against Elon, milestones, including deploying millions of robotaxis/robots and ultimately reaching a market capitalization not far off $10 trillion. Oh, and doing a mere $400 billion per year in EBITDA, aka profits. It's obvious that Elon Musk is going to speedrun this to the best of his ability, and were anyone else leading the company, they may get there, but Musk will do so in a fraction of the time any other human being could possibly pull it off. So overall, great to see Tesla discussed and well understood on a podcast with an audience of subscribers, what was it, 7 million? Many of whom certainly will never have seen a Tesla vehicle driving itself, or heard from people that they deem as credible, they listen to regularly, as describing Tesla as a robotics and AI company. And importantly, the question posed by Pomp, if you want to invest in AI and robotics in the public markets, I mean, hello, want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 has been part of my daily health protocol for almost half a decade. It's packed full of vitamins and minerals and helps me fill in nutritional gaps while supporting energy, digestion, and immune function. It also has prebiotics and probiotics to promote gut health. I take my health very seriously, and so should you. Try AG1 today by visiting drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment and enjoy a free welcome kit with vitamin D3 plus K2 and AG1 travel packs. That's drinkag1.com/SMR.